Stonehenge was never truly discovered. It never vanished beneath the earth or the sea, never slipped out of memory, and never waited for an explorer to stumble upon it. For as long as people have lived on the Salisbury Plain in southern England, the stones have stood there, weathered, broken, and incomplete, but always present. And yet, despite centuries of human attention, Stonehenge has remained one of the most quietly unresolved monuments in human history. The earliest written references do not come from archaeologists or scientists, but from medieval writers who were already confused by what they saw. In the 12th century, Geoffrey of Monmouth included Stonehenge in his Historia Regum Britanniae. He did not describe how it was built based on evidence. Instead, he admitted that no one truly knew. His story blended folklore, imagination, and secondhand accounts, suggesting the stones were moved from Ireland by the wizard Merlin. Today, that explanation holds no historical weight, but it tells us something important. Even 1,000 years ago, people standing before Stonehenge had no clear idea who built it or why. That sense of inherited uncertainty is where the mystery truly begins. What modern archaeology has confirmed is that Stonehenge was not built all at once. It was constructed in the stages over more than 1,000 years, roughly between 3000 BC and 1600 BC. The earliest phase was not stone at all. It was a circular earthwork made of a ditch and bank with wooden posts and pits known today as the Aubrey Holes. These early features suggest a gathering place, possibly tied to burial practices. Human cremated remains found in the area support this idea and place Stonehenge among the earliest known large cemeteries in Britain. Over time, the site changed. Massive stones were added, rearranged, and in some cases removed. The most famous elements, the towering sarsen stones arranged in circles and horseshoe shapes, came later, around 2500 BC. These stones are local to southern England, sourced from the Marlborough Downs, about 20 miles away. Each one weighs up to 25 tons. The blue stones, smaller but still enormous, came from much farther away. Geological analysis has traced many of them to the Preseli Hills in West Wales, more than 150 miles from Stonehenge. This single fact reshaped the entire discussion. Moving stones of that size across such a distance without metal tools, wheeled vehicles, or written plans raises serious questions. Archaeologists agree the stones were moved by human effort, likely using sledges, ropes, and waterways. But agreement ends there. No definitive method has been proven. Experiments have shown possible techniques, but none fully explain how communities sustained the effort over generations. This was not a one-time project. It required planning, cooperation, and continuity over centuries. The land around Stonehenge adds another layer to the story. Far from standing alone, the monument sits within a carefully shaped ritual landscape. Burial mounds, known as barrows, dot the surrounding hills. Ancient paths, including the avenue that connects Stonehenge to the River Avon, suggest controlled movement and ceremonial processions. Nearby sites like Durrington Walls reveal evidence of large seasonal gatherings. Animal bones found there show signs of feasting, particularly in winter, implying that people traveled long distances to take part in events centered on Stonehenge. This challenges the idea of isolated tribes randomly stacking stones. Instead, it points toward organized societies with shared beliefs and social structures. But who led these efforts remains unclear. No royal tombs, no inscriptions, and no named leaders have been found. The builders left behind tools, bones, and post holes, but not their voices. Modern archaeological investigations have slowly filled in parts of the picture. Excavations led by researchers such as Mike Parker Pearson have connected Stonehenge to broader Neolithic and early Bronze Age cultures in Britain. Radiocarbon dating has refined the timeline. Isotope analysis of human remains has shown that some people buried near Stonehenge grew up far from the site, possibly in Wales or other regions. This suggests the monument held meaning beyond its immediate area. Tool marks on the stones show careful shaping, not crude hacking. The stones were dressed to fit together, with mortise and tenon joints more commonly seen in woodworking. This level of craftsmanship suggests specialized knowledge passed down through generations. Yet no workshop areas have been clearly identified, and no written records describe training or leadership. This brings us to the heart of the debate. What was Stonehenge actually for? Some researchers emphasize its astronomical alignments. The most famous is its alignment with the summer solstice sunrise and the winter solstice sunset. These alignments are real and measurable. The stones frame the sun's movement with striking precision. However, many ancient monuments track celestial events, and alignment alone does not explain Stonehenge's scale or complexity. Others focus on its role as a ceremonial or religious center. The long timeline of construction suggests changing beliefs rather than a single purpose. Early burial use gave way to stone monumentality. Later modifications altered sightlines and access. Stonehenge may have evolved as societies change, reflecting new ideas about ancestors, seasons, or social identity. There is also strong evidence linking Stonehenge to death rituals, while nearby sites like Durrington Walls appear connected to the living. This contrast has led some archaeologists to suggest Stonehenge represented a symbolic realm of ancestors, while wooden structures nearby represented life and renewal. The avenue connecting Stonehenge to the river strengthens this interpretation, suggesting processions that move between worlds. What most experts agree on is just as important as what they debate. Stonehenge was built by humans native to Britain, not outsiders with unknown technologies. It was not a sudden achievement, but a long-term cultural project, and it mattered deeply to the people who built and maintained it. That much is clear. What remains unclear is how leadership worked in a world without writing. How were decisions made across generations? Why did later builders respect earlier layouts instead of starting fresh? How was knowledge preserved when communities change? These are not small questions, and Stonehenge offers no direct answers. Despite centuries of study, modern tools, and careful excavation, Stonehenge continues to resist simple explanation. Every discovery seems to clarify one detail while opening two new questions. That is not because the evidence is missing, but because the evidence speaks in fragments. Bones without names, stones without words, alignments without instructions. The mystery, then, is not whether Stonehenge was built by humans. That question has been settled. The real mystery is how a prehistoric society, without writing or centralized states, sustained a vision that lasted over 1,000 years. How they organized labor, passed down knowledge, and maintained meaning across generations remains uncertain. Stonehenge stands today not as a puzzle waiting for a single solution, but as a record of human persistence. A monument shaped by time as much as by hands. And as long as its builders remain unnamed and their intentions unwritten, the question of who really built Stonehenge will continue to invite debate, careful study, and quiet wonder.